I'm just going to wait a few seconds till people get on. Thank you for the hearts. How's my mic? How's the volume? Hi, Rhonda. Is the volume okay? Can you hear me okay? Yes? Hi, Stacy Jelly. Hi, Judy. How are you guys? I'm glad to see a couple of you on here tonight, especially for this topic we have. Yes. We'll just wait a couple minutes until more people get on. So I would like you guys to tell me, what is it that you want to really learn tonight about adrenal fatigue before people come on? Hi, Terry. Tell me what you want to learn most about. I'll make sure I cover it. I got a lot planned for you, so I don't think I'll miss much, but hi, Caleb. Hi, Ashley. All right, let me turn my volume down here. I like that song. It's Just Hold On by Steve Aoki? Aoki? I don't know. I like that song, though. Hi, Steven. Are you guys ready to talk about adrenal fatigue? Let's just get rocking. So, first of all, those of you who are just tuning in, this is tonight's topic. My name is Terry Dale, and I am a functional diagnostic nurse, a hormone practitioner, personal trainer. I own a body transformation in Minnesota, and I help hundreds and hundreds of men and women basically just learn about their metabolisms, learn how to get healthy. I really, really, really don't like it when people don't feel good. So I get so many questions about this right here. And I personally have had adrenal fatigue back about 10 years ago, but when I had all the symptoms of adrenal fatigue, nobody knew what adrenal fatigue was. They did not know, because back then it wasn't really a legit, I don't want to say disease. Well, I suppose it is. It wasn't legit because they didn't know how to test it. They still don't know how to test it, except I will show you now how they do. There's the allopathic way to test it, which is not the way you can test adrenal fatigue. And then there's the non-allopathic, the holistic way to test it, which I will get into tonight. So that's what we're going to talk about, because I am here to tell you that it is a legitimate disease. I don't like that word, but that's what it is, I guess. It's definitely 100% curable through your own body's processes of nutrition and rest and supplementation. There's really no drugs you can go on for it unless you get to the point where you have Addison's, which is like your adrenals are done, and by that time you're pretty close to death. So, yeah. So your adrenals are very, very, very strong. So before we get into that, let me see who else is on. Hi, Tanya. Hi, Shannon. Hi, Karen. Hi, Stephanie. Good to have you guys on here. So again, my name is Terry Dale, and we're going to talk about adrenal fatigue, and I am here to tell you that it is a legitimate problem. And as a person who has had it, when I had it about 10 years ago, it took about a year to even really learn that's what I had. I was having all these symptoms. The first symptom I had was chronic constipation. I know, right? But I had chronic constipation and super, super, super tired, a lot of fatigue. I had weight gain that was unexplained, and so my symptoms were bad. So we'll get into that a little bit. But let me first just explain what your adrenals are, okay? So what your adrenals are these two little thumbnail-sized organs that are on top of your kidneys. They're that small, and there's two of them in your body, and they're responsible. They're responsible for your stress hormones. So when you get extremely stressed, we're going to talk about the three types of stress that your adrenals are responsible for. Most people think there's only one kind of stress, which is the emotional stress, but there's other kinds. But your adrenals, when your body is stressed, they release corticosteroids, which is basically your fight or flight steroids in your body, adrenaline, to prevent you to be able to, or to protect you to be able to run from a bear, or so your body will respond to an emergency situation. And that emergency situation can be a physical one, can be a mental one, an emotional one. So when you have this surge of these adrenaline hormones, there's over 50, by the way. There's over 50 hormones that your little adrenals manage in your body. So this is all a part of your endocrine system, and they're very powerful. And when those adrenals are upset and they get stressed out, they release all these hormones, which then suppress some of the major organs, like what it does is it brings all the blood to your heart and to your brain, and so it shuts down and slows down your digestion, your other organs, so that your body can take care of you in an emergency. Does that make sense? So there's a lot going on with these little adrenals that are responsible for the majority of your endocrine system, okay? So those are what your adrenals do. Now, before I move on, I want to talk to you. This is very important, okay? You guys got to get this, because this is going to be key to understanding really what adrenal fatigue is, because it is a legitimate thing. So your little adrenals, like I said, are in charge of your fight or flight, your adrenaline, your emergency situation. So when your body is stressed, and we're going to talk about 3 different kinds of stress today. Okay, now it's very important for you guys to know that when I tell you, if I tell you or ask you, are you guys stressed out? What's the first thing that you think of when you think of stress? Anybody want to volunteer to comment about when I say, are you stressed out? What's the first thing that you think about when I say stress? I can guarantee what you're going to say if you guys want to comment. Hi, Dawn. Hi, Rachel. Hi, Susie Q. Well, right? It's going to be, oh, I'm stressed out at work, or, maybe there was some emotional stress. So most people think that the only stress that your body identifies is emotional or physical. But I'm going to talk to you about 3 different kinds of stress. And you have to understand this, because this is key. Because if you don't understand this, and I guarantee you that all 3 of these categories of stress are important for the healing of your adrenals, okay? Stephanie says, work, busy, kids. Exactly, yes. Exactly that, yes. So let's go over the 3 types of stress that your body has on a daily, monthly, weekly basis, okay? The first one is emotional mental. That's what most people think of when I mention stress. They think mental or emotional. That's you're stressed at work, you're overwhelmed, maybe you've had a death in the family, maybe you're going through a divorce, right? All of that emotional trauma and emotional stress causes your adrenals to release a hormone called cortisol and adrenaline, all right? And this elevates your body into fight or flight mode. And so what happens is your body releases all of this to help you manage those emotions and help you with getting through that, okay? So the first type of stress is emotional and physical. You guys understand that, right? And there's bad relationships. I'm just going through my notes here. Depression, depression is very stressful. If you're depressed, that's stressful, because it takes a toll on your way of thinking and your attitude, okay? So the first one is the emotional and mental. The second kind of stress that your body takes on every day is physical and biochemical, okay? Very different from mental and emotional. So your physical and biochemical is, maybe you had surgery. It's very stressful for your body. Can't help it, but it's a part of life. And that's actually, when you do have surgery, thank God we have our adrenals, because it releases a lot of healing hormones that actually help you heal when you have a surgery that you needed to have. So surgery. What about also trauma to the body? So maybe you broke a leg, maybe you broke a toe, all of that is stress to the body. Maybe you are out of alignment. Maybe you have chronic back issues, and you are very athletic, and you don't take care of this subluxation in your spine, so you're walking around with chronic pain, you need to go get adjusted because that's causing stress on your body. There's also physical stress. If you're overtraining your body, very, very, very common for athletes, especially bodybuilding and physique athletes, to get adrenal fatigue because they're more than time they're overtrained and it's daily, and their body never gets a break. So a lot of athletes, especially in that field, will have chronic inflammation due to overtraining. Okay, so we have the emotional and the mental. We got the physical and the biochemical. Okay, you understand the difference between those two? There's two. There's a third one. The third one is chemical and physiological. Okay, so chemical and physiological stress on your body is things like pathogens, allergies, disease, if you have infections, if you got a hormone imbalance. Many women who I work with fall into this category when they're going through hormone imbalances, perimenopause, and things like that. That's a part of your body that's stressed out because it's imbalanced, okay? So when you have all those three different types of categories, that's all are causing stress on your body. So your adrenals actually kick in all those three scenarios all the time, okay? They just do. Your body doesn't know the difference between you being upset at a coworker or a friend or a spouse versus being robbed or being chased and you have to run because you're super scared. You're inside your body. It doesn't know the difference. It does the same thing internally and releases these hormones to protect you. So your body, when it's stressed, when those three things are occurring, and I can guarantee if you guys are listening to this and you're paying attention, you can probably identify in each category, right? In the mental, emotional, physical, biochemical, and chemical, physiological, you can probably identify 1, 2, 3 things in each that you're either going through now or you have been going through or maybe whatever, right? So anytime these three categories are causing stress on your body, your adrenals are impacted. Okay, so this is what happens with your adrenals. Your adrenals, they work super hard and they release cortisol. So I know that when I was going through my adrenal fatigue, let me explain something to you because this is important to understand, is because your adrenals, I'm gonna hold this up, because your adrenals are so strong and they actually protect you from dealing with this stress, they help you deal with it. Sometimes people will not get adrenal fatigue for 10 to 15 years, sometimes it takes 5 years. It just depends on a person's DNA, also depends on their lifestyle and how stressed in those three categories your body is. So for me, when I was diagnosed with adrenal fatigue, again, like I told you, it took about a year, 2 years, many different doctors. One of them, when I went to the doctor and told them some of my symptoms, of course, what do they tell you? Oh, you're just depressed, you need to go on medication. I'm like, no, I'm not depressed. I got something going on in my body. What's going on? I was eating right. Okay, it wasn't my nutrition. But for me, I was competing. I've been a competitive fitness figure and bodybuilder. I did it for 6 years. And it was like during my 3rd year of competing when I started not feeling very well. Okay. And I never, ever, ever gave my body a break. Now, fortunately, I train, my clients to train a little differently when they're doing shows. But back in the day, I didn't know any different, So not only was I overtrained, okay, but my body fat was way too low for too long a period of time. I had a very, very stressful career in telecommunications. So I was working around the clock, very, very, very long hours, very stressful job, trying to meet quotas. I was going through a divorce. I had a house payment and all these bills, and I was trying to launch and do my fitness. I was really loving fitness, and I would wake up at 4 in the morning, go to the gym at 5, be at the gym by 5 a.m. when it opened, do my workout, get to work which was 35-minute, 40-minute commute from White Bear to Eden Prairie, Minnetonka, and talk about sucky in the weather, winter for that. So just that was stressful. And then I would work from 8 o'clock until 5. And then I would drive back to the gym to train clients or do teaching or get my own workout in. And I wouldn't get home until 9, 10 at night. All right? And I'm not even, I know you guys, some of you out there can identify with this, right? But I'm going to tell you something. When I was doing that for about a year, my body handled it. I mean, do you guys remember a time in your life when you felt like you never needed to sleep? Like, oh my gosh, I would sleep for 3 or 4 hours a night and I'd feel great the next day, because your adrenals are giving you all of this cortisol and these adrenaline hormones and these steroid hormones to help you survive. So they're pumping out all of these hormones, right? Well, eventually what happens is they can't keep up with the demand. Okay, so in my case, 2, 3, 4 years, I wouldn't ever change my lifestyle. So I started getting symptoms, okay? So when your adrenals are being taxed emotionally, physically, physiologically, if you're getting sick a lot, that for me too, back then when my adrenals I started to get symptoms, because remember, at first, you're gonna feel like you're gonna feel like a superwoman. Your adrenals are pumping all this cortisol and they're pumping all these hormones and you're feeling pretty good, right? You are, because your adrenals are doing what they're supposed to do. But eventually they break down and they start slowing down. This is when you start getting symptoms. And some of the symptoms are weight gain, extreme fatigue, constipation. Oh, there's a whole slew of them. Depression, bone loss, inflammation, increased allergies, difficulty sleeping, irritability, moodiness. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And I can hold these up. Hot flashes, because again, remember, your adrenals are responsible for over 50 hormones, and it impacts all of your other endocrine system organs. So women who are young, like in their 20s and 30s, and they're getting hot flashes, they're not going to perimenopause yet. Their adrenals are starting to go. They'll go into perimenopause early if they don't get their adrenals fixed, right? So again, all these symptoms start happening, and the problem is that because adrenal fatigue just recently, maybe in the last 4 or 5 years, is now being understood, there's an easy fix for it, and there's tests you can do to make sure that's legitimately what you have. But up until 4 or 5 years ago, nobody really, even the allopathic doctors really don't know how to test for it. I'll get into that in a little bit, because there is a specific test. I will explain to you what it is, and you'll know, okay? But, traditionally, they still really don't know what adrenal fatigue is. But the good news is I do know, and I can help you if any of you guys are struggling with it. I can give information tonight. Hopefully, you will be able to learn something and take it home with you and be able to also prevent it from happening if you're on the verge of getting adrenal fatigue. Okay, so when the symptoms start, that means that your adrenals now are probably starting to go on the decline. When your adrenals when they're functioning properly and your cortisol levels are high, which when you go get blood work done or whatever and they're high, that's probably right in the middle of the adrenal phase, where your body's pumping out a lot to try to, keep up with the demand. Eventually they get tired though, man. They can't keep up, so it starts to decline. Okay? This is when the symptoms come in. And then they get worse and they get worse. So when you go to the doctor or when you go get blood work done, okay, this is what you got to understand. So let's say you have a line, you're over here, okay? You have a line, you're over here. You go get blood work done when you're feeling great. Your cortisol levels are at 75. Perfect. Okay? Right over here. You feel great. You don't have adrenal fatigue yet, nothing. But then you get into a period of life, maybe you go through a divorce, a death in the family, whatever. You got in a car accident, you had surgery, whatever the case may be. And your cortisol levels are now over 100, 200, whatever. Okay? So you go get blood work done, and they're like, yep, your cortisol levels are high, you know, you better slow down, blah, blah, blah. Well, then you start to get symptoms, right? So now you're back down to here, all right? So let's say now over here, you're back down to 75 or 70 or maybe even 60. Now your cortisol, according to conventional blood work, conventional charts, you're over here. Your blood work is normal. But actually it's not. What you're doing is it's going on a decline. You're coming off of the high level. This is the part that physicians don't know, because they're going by all the numbers in the blood work. They're not going by doing an evaluation of your entire hormonal history, your entire adrenal history. Does that make sense? I get some hearts. Does that make sense? Okay. Does that make sense or not? So it's really important to understand, and I do have a chart, but on Facebook, you know, when I do this, it's all backwards, so it's confusing. But here, before I move on to how you test for it to make sure you actually have it, because there is a way to test for it. There absolutely is a way. And trust me, I did all the bad testing first, the wrong testing, which threw me in a tailspin of things I didn't need to be doing and protocols I was on that I shouldn't have been on because they didn't know. So I did all the wrong things. So I'm here going to share with you tonight the right things to do. But before I get into that, do you guys have any questions so far about what I've shared with you guys about the 3 types of categories of stress? Because when your body is stressed out, your adrenals are on overdrive. Does that make sense? So, any questions? Hi, Amanda. Hi, Jamie. Hi, Gloria. Happy birthday, Gloria. By the way, I saw on Facebook it's your birthday today. Happy birthday. Hi, Andrea. Hi, Stacey Holly. So, you guys have any questions before I move on to actually how we detect if you have adrenal fatigue? We went through the symptoms. We went through what your adrenals do. Now I want to talk to you about how we test for it, and then I want to talk to you about how you guys can cure, prevent, support your little adrenals, right? Gloria, you need to get on Advocare's butt and have them bring back the pineapple coconut spark. I'm dying over here. I can't keep up. When are they going to... Sorry, I just had to say it. I'm so addicted to that pineapple coconut, but I don't know why they don't put it in the tub. They put everything else in the tub. Anyway, I love my spark. I know. Hi, Denise. Good to see you. All right, do I want to go then into the how we test for adrenals, or do you guys has how we test for adrenal fatigue, or do you guys have any other questions for me? Tanya, it's like crack. Yaha. I mean, I like the mango strawberry, but the pineapple coconut really has got to be, they have to put that in a tub, or I'm going to really like have a meltdown. It's hard on my adrenals. I'm too stressed out. Make my coconut pineapple spark. Otherwise, I'm going to be too stressed out. My adrenals can't handle it. No, I'm kidding. As I'm drinking my green tea. Hi, Kelly. All right, are you guys learning something tonight so far? Yes, no? So, I hope so. Okay, let's talk about next. If there's no questions, I must be doing very well if you don't have questions. I must be hitting all the hot spots for you. So let's talk next. Thank you. Let's talk next about how we test for adrenal fatigue. Okay? So, first of all, if you think you might have adrenal fatigue, there is a questionnaire that I have. I can email you. But if you think you might have, after listening to this video and you have some of the symptoms I have, there is a test you can do for it, okay? But, there's a but. But you've got to take, it has to be saliva. Has to be saliva test. It can't be blood. And you have to do a saliva test that has 4 to 6 cortisol readings throughout your day. because that's going to indicate how your adrenals are working throughout your day. Okay, a blood test. Anytime you do blood for that, for adrenal function, your blood is bound. All right. So when you do saliva, you are actually measuring the hormones in your tissues, which is what is the most accurate. It's what you're functioning on every day. You don't want to have information about your bound hormones in your blood. It's just not as accurate, okay? So first of all, if you think you might be having some of these symptoms after you have really thought about, is there a pattern in your life where you've been super stressed, and you can think about maybe a period where you were like, oh my gosh, look at how I felt really good at this age, and you were like, all of a sudden you just crash. Sometimes it happens like overnight too. Like for me, it was like within a couple days, it was like all of a sudden I felt like, bleh. Sometimes there's a slow decline. Everybody's different. But if you feel like you might have some adrenal fatigue issues, there's a test you can take. It's a saliva test. I offer them. I do them. But there's other functional practitioners that might, and holistic doctors that might. But it's a cortisol test that I do that not only tests your cortisol 4 to 6 times a day through saliva. That's all you got to do is you spit into a little tube like this, right? And you submit it to the lab, and then it comes back and gives me a readout. It tells me your cortisol, how your cortisol is functioning that day. It gives me your melatonin, your DHEA. Your DHEA is super important because that's a hormone that your adrenals produce. And if that is the ratio of that to pregnenolone is bad, then you know for sure you have adrenal suppression. Okay, I don't want to get too technical, but my point is that yes, you can take this adrenal test. And this adrenal test also tells me or gives information on your estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. Okay, so once you get that test done, then you can see where on the chart you are. Okay, and I would guarantee that if you have all of these symptoms and they're fairly new or they've been around a while, okay, I guarantee you might have the start of or your full-fledged adrenal fatigue, okay? There's stage 1, 2, and 3. Stage 1 is when your cortisol is very high and you're feeling actually pretty good. Stage 3 is the decline, and 4 is really bad. That's sometimes you have to be hospitalized for that, okay? So there is a test that you can take to get this, to learn whether or not you have it. The problem is your conventional physician don't do saliva. Sorry. They do blood. And it's not going to be as accurate as saliva, you guys. So for a couple $100, I know, trust me, I went through it. I had blood work done, and the blood work came back all normal, right? Well, I wasn't normal. I was on this side of the chart. Normal was over here. My body had been up in here, and I was down here. And I was feeling like crap, but I had all the symptoms, okay? But they didn't know how to help me until I found, it's such a long story, but trust me, it was like 8 months worth of hell trying to figure out exactly how to help me feel better. Because it wasn't my diet. It wasn't my nutrition. I've always been very cognizant of my nutrition. It was some other things going on, the stress. It was my stress level. Mental, emotional, physical. Also, I learned that I also had a couple pathogens back in the day. So, which was very, very stressful on your adrenals. When you have pathogens and infections, your adrenals are they're going to be overworked. Okay, so that's how you can get tested, and that's one option for you guys to be able to understand and learn if this is something that you feel like you need to do. Okay, but if you think that you do have adrenal fatigue and you don't want to do the test, you can always do some of the protocol, which I'll talk about next, for adrenal fatigue. Because what I'm going to teach you and what I'm going to show you is, it's not a pill, it's not dangerous, it's not like, it's preventative for one thing. So you can always start with some basic adrenal support tips that I will give to you if you truly think you have adrenal fatigue. Although I can't recommend that you don't get tested. If you truly think you do have it, it'd be important that you work with a holistic coach like me or somebody that can actually have data so that we know how to actually put you on a treatment plan per se. But you can do this yourself if you are suspect that you have adrenal fatigue. Again, the 3 categories: emotional, mental, physiological, like trauma, and then biochemical, and then physiological. Those 3 categories, if you can think right now in your mind that you have some things going on in each of those categories, then what you got to do is you have to work in each of those categories to figure out how to eliminate the stress in those areas. I know. Easier said than done, right? Let me say that again. If you suspect that you have any of these, adrenal fatigue, if you have symptoms like these, okay, you have to determine which of these are in those 3 categories, and you have to do your best to try to manage those 3 categories. Okay, so let's talk about the mental, emotional first. Let's talk about that. So mental, emotional stress. Okay, now we're going to start talking about this. No, we already did that. I guess I don't have a sign saying how to treat. I have supplements to talk about that. Okay, so now we're going to talk about what you can do to decrease your symptoms and rebuild your adrenals. Okay? Hi, Melissa. Hi, Diane. Hi, Audra. Hi, Kristen. I crashed big time. I'm going to do it. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, women especially, we are, those of us that are type A and are driven, and if you have kids and you work, man, those little adrenals get so pushed to the max that it's a matter of time, ladies, before they start to crash and before you start to burn and not feel very good. Okay, and when you're in that stage 3 adrenal fatigue, trust me, I understand, it is not fun. It's not fun. It's terrible. You just don't feel like I remember I was drinking so much coffee to try to stay awake before I met Spark. But I was drinking so much coffee to try to stay awake and function. And then I drank so much coffee and caffeine that my gums would bleed because I needed the caffeine. It was terrible. And then I would just crash like after, because when you have adrenal fatigue and you're taking caffeine, that's like the worst thing you can do. But I didn't know I didn't know I had adrenal fatigue, so I was just making my adrenals worse by drinking caffeine. Yeah. All right. So if let's say you've taken the test and you realize that you have adrenal fatigue, here's the 3. I'm gonna give you 3, maybe 4 suggestions on what you need to do in order to reverse the symptoms and heal your adrenals. First of all, I'm going to say this, okay? Supplements are for adrenal fatigue healing, but I would not go on a bunch of supplements unless you know for sure you have adrenal fatigue, because it's going to be a waste of money. But these other things I'm going to share with you, you can start right away. So the first thing is nutrition, okay? You guys have to start cleaning up your nutrition, okay? So eating healthier. If you're starving yourself, for one thing, what's that doing? That's causing stress in your body because your blood sugar management is all over the place. So not eating enough is stress on your body. Eating too much is stress on your body. And what you put in your mouth is stress on your body. So if you're eating a ton of fast food, a ton of caffeine, a ton of GMOs, like I talked about last week, the GMOs, that's all stress on your body, and your hormones are affected, especially your adrenals. Okay, so the first thing you have to do is, you guys, if you truly think you have adrenal dysfunction, you've got to clean up your nutrition. You've got to start implementing things like, fruits and vegetables and clean foods. Stay away from boxed and fast food and packages. Start incorporating coconut oil and almonds and good fats, and get away from the canola oils and the high fructose corn syrups. You know, you've got to, you will never get rid of your adrenal fatigue if you don't clean up your nutrition. You just won't. Sorry. There's not a supplement in the world that can fix your adrenal fatigue if you don't take care of your nutrition. You've got to do all these three things together. So the first thing is nutrition. The second thing you want to do is you need to manage your stress. I know. I know. If you're not getting sleep, the number one thing you can do for your adrenals, nutrition, is give them rest. So you need to sleep. You've got to sleep more. If you're overtraining, you got to change your style of training. If you're pushing your weight cardio and you're pushing and doing hours and hours a day, you are pushing your adrenals. You're never going to heal them, ever. They're never, ever, ever going to heal. They're just not. I know that's going to be hard for some of you guys to hear. I get that. But if you want to feel like crap and you want to keep getting worse, and I've worked with elite athletes who have adrenal fatigue who are working out all the time and they're gaining weight. Does that make sense? No. But it does if you have adrenal fatigue. Because your body it's extremely exhausted and it's doing whatever it can to protect itself. So it wants to keep weight on you. Okay? So you've got to manage your stress when it comes to physical stress, when it comes to sleeping habits, when it comes to emotional stress. You've got to manage your emotional stress too. If you're going throughout your day and you're constantly have angst and you're constantly have anxiety and you're constantly angry and you know you have a steady input of cortisol, you might as well just stick an IV in you with cortisol. I mean, seriously, if you're like this all the time, you're just you're impatient and you're just you will just get adrenal fatigue eventually if you don't already have it. So that part you have to work on. Now, I'm not a psychologist, okay? But I do know that, you know, taking time for you and meditating or doing something every day that helps you relax. I don't know what that is. If it's taking a hot bath, if it's working out but not killing yourself, if it's getting a massage, if it's going shopping, if it's having a date night or having sex, whatever, something that you can do every day on a daily basis that will help with managing your stress. For me, I'm gonna admit with you right now, this is my vice. I have such a hard time with stress. I know. I hate to admit it. I'm trying to manage my stress. I've been praying about it. I've been like, Lord, help me not to be so worried and fearful and stressed out because I'm a type A and I go. And my body just gets stressed out. I allow it. But I'm just saying, back in the day when I had this adrenal fatigue, I had to start back then really working on my stress. And it always creeps back up. It always creeps back up with me. And it's a constant battle for me. I'm going to be honest. I struggle with stress, managing my stress. I struggle with it. And why? I shouldn't. But I do. It's just, so I understand for some of you who are listening to this thinking, oh my gosh, I'm screwed. You know, it's like your checklist, all the stuff that's happening in your life, you're like, how am I ever going to change this? I know. But you take it a day at a time and you have to weigh the benefits of what you'll feel like when you feel good. You have to think about the outcome of managing your stress and how it will make you feel. Because when you can do that, you will feel better almost instantly, okay? So you got to manage your stress, whether it's emotional, mental, also physical stress. You know, if you are walking around in chronic pain because your back is out, or you've got to get some help and go get adjustments, or you know, if your muscles are tight all the time, you should be stretching. You know, as much as I don't like yoga, because again, it's not hyper enough for me. I know I need it, but yoga is very restorative. I believe that 100%. And if you can find something like that to help you meditate, whatever it is, you've got to work on your stress, because that's the number one thing that affects your adrenals, okay? I feel like I've been doing a lot of talking. So before I get into supplements, because I know all of you are like, what's the supplement? What can I take? What can I take? Supplements are last. It's the last part of the protocol. It's the least important. It's important, but it's the least important. The other two, the nutrition and the stress reduction, are the most important. Can you give me some hearts? Can I get some hearts? Can I get some hearts? Thank you. We need some heart. Thank you. All right, Carly. Hi. Hi, Lynn. Jean, what's up? Hi, Trisha. Okay, so before I talk about the last part, okay? I'm saying this for last because I don't really, I love supplements, but this is not going to do anything for you if you don't manage the other two I talked about, but I will give you some suggestions on supplements. Do you have any questions for me? You guys are kind of a quiet group. Do you have any questions for me? Go. The comments are coming fast, so if you had a question and I missed it, can you retype it for me and I'll try to answer it. Questions? Questions? Come on, you must have questions. Hi, Jody. You guys have to have questions. I had like 20 emails today from you guys about, you were so excited to hear about adrenal fatigue talk today. I answered all your questions already? Really? Did I answer them all? I did? No questions so far? Come on. 10 seconds. 9. All right, Stacey Holly, is adrenal fatigue when you no longer produce certain hormones? Susie, keep talking. Okay, Stacey, have you been here the whole time? No, adrenal fatigue is when your adrenals get so worn out that they can't produce. So yes, I guess to be fair, it's they slow down the production of your stress hormones, which are key to survival. So when you have a reduction in these hormones, you will get symptoms. So yes, and the 3 things that cause stress in your body are the emotional, mental, physiological, biochemical, and physiological. Okay. So, any other questions? Any other questions? Okay, let's talk then. If you guys don't have any questions, let's talk next about supplements for adrenal fatigue, okay? I hesitate to even go into detail about this. I really do, because if you truly have adrenal fatigue, you should get tested first to know for sure. Then if you're tested and you know for sure, then the first thing is nutrition. Have to clean up your nutrition so that you can make sure that you're giving your body holistic nutrition, so it's not stressed from chemicals and toxins, okay? Secondly, stress reduction, that's mental, physical. You got to reevaluate your entire mental stress and reevaluate your entire physical stress, okay? And biochemical, which should also be in that, if you're in pain or whatever, okay? You gotta. Thirdly is then your supplements for adrenal fatigue. And I would only suggest going on these if you are symptomatic or if you for sure know. I wouldn't go out and buy all these supplements if you haven't been tested, though. I'm just going to tell you that right now. But I will tell you what I did, and I will tell you what I know about supplements. So your adrenals are very responsive to certain key supplements because your body cannot make some of these on its own. Example is vitamin C. Vitamin C is super important not only for adrenal fatigue, but also for your immune system. And for, my clients, I have all my clients, when they ask me, I have them on between 1,000 to 5,000 milligrams a day of vitamin C. So vitamin C is extremely important, okay? So that would be something that you should go on. Another product that is really good for your adrenals is B vitamins. So all the B's, that's all the B's, B15, B17, B6, B5, B1, B2, all the B's are very important for adrenal function. So if you're extremely stressed out, then you know that B vitamins are very important. Spark has awesome B vitamins. I love Spark, so that has some good B vitamins in it, okay? So B vitamins are great. Adaptogens are also, they're tincture. It's a tincture, it's drops, and it's like ashwagandha, licorice root. Very supportive for your adrenals, to help give you energy when you're trying to rebuild your adrenals and get them recharged. So adaptogens are very important. And then the last one is a glandular support, which is actually a piece. There's a supplement that you can purchase. I'll tell you where, but there's a supplement you purchase actual glandular pieces of adrenals that get, it's organic, of course, but they help with building those adrenal back. So it's a compilation of glandular adrenal and herbs and vitamins and minerals to help with that. So those are the 4 strong adrenal support supplements. Now, when I went through adrenal fatigue, I did the Dr. Wilson protocol for adrenal fatigue. His supplements are great. I also have a line, but I really like Dr. Wilson's, because what I like about it is you can just buy them, and then he gives you an actual, guide as to how you take them, and it's not very confusing. It's pretty spot on. And then he also has a different protocol for the where you at, what stage you're at. So if you guys think you're at stage 1, which is just starting, up here, then you can still take the Dr. Wilson's protocol, and the amounts would just be different than if you had like a stage 3. So Dr. Wilson, DrWilsonIlson, you could just Google Dr. Wilson adrenal fatigue protocol. So I have my clients go on that, in addition to some additional adrenal support supplements that I get from my supplier, from my holistic practitioner lab. So there's a couple other ones that I would get that are also really key that the Dr. Wilsons don't have. But that is my advice, okay? So I know this has been kind of long and there's a lot of information. I really wish Facebook did allow me to do PowerPoint, because I have a whole PowerPoint on this that you can actually visually see stuff. I will be putting my PowerPoint presentation online at my BFit Academy. I will for sure let you guys know when my BFit Academy online program is up and running, and you guys are welcome to be able to see some things and purchase some of these programs that I'm going to be offering, which is going to be awesome, because then you can actually see a PowerPoint and you can actually whatever. But I know this was a lot of information, you guys. So before I wrap up, give me some hearts. Thank you. So I know that you're there. But before I wrap up, what questions do you have? What other questions do you have? So we went through what your adrenals are, what they do. We went through what is adrenal fatigue and what the symptoms are. We went through how to detect it. And then we went to what supplements you can take and what things you can do, even without supplements, what things you can do to actually start to heal your adrenals. Brandy, how long on average does it take for your adrenal glands to recover from decline? Great question. And it depends on what stage you're in. Okay, it can take anywhere from 6 to 9 months, 9 to 12, or up to 2 years. Okay, here's what happened with me. I was in stage 3, close to stage 4 adrenal fatigue. Okay, I had to make some major changes in my nutrition. Yes, actually, and my stress prevention and my stress reduction. But I still needed to live life. I wanted to train. I had to change my training. So mine took longer because I didn't want to give up some things in my life. But I know I needed to heal. So mine took about a year. Okay. But I've seen people where it takes 3 to 6 months. If you're in a position where you can just make a decision where you can just not have stress and you can sleep more and you don't have to, for me, I was running a business. I was still trying to figure things. You know what I'm saying? I know, making excuses. I'm just saying, great question. It depends on you. So if you totally have stage 3 and you pretty aggressively want to heal it, then you have to make changes pretty quick, and you also have to make pretty strong changes to your nutrition and your lifestyle. If you can do that, I would say between 3 to 9 months. If you can't give up everything right away, then it might take up to 2 years. So great question. So it just, again, it depends on you and how much effort you put into the healing process, okay? Hi, Stacy. Hi, Susie. I think I just answered your question. Yeah. As far as that's actually, I'm going to point something else out. So I've had clients who have started the process of healing their adrenals, and they might start to feel better like in a couple weeks or a couple months, but that doesn't mean you can quit your protocol, your plan, because your adrenals take longer to heal than that. You can't just give it 2 weeks. Even if you start feeling better, you can't just give it 2 weeks. You'll just go right back into decline, and they're not healed yet. Even though you might, the sign that you're starting to feel better means that it's working, but you've got to give it time. Think of it this way: your adrenals are like batteries. Okay, so when your batteries are drained, how long does it take to charge up? Well, it depends on the life of your battery. It depends on how old your batteries are. It depends on how they've been used. It depends on how fast they burn out. So think of it like that. They've got to be recharged, and you can't just half charge it, because then it'll just be worse the second time around. So think of them like a battery. Okay. Any other questions? If not, I'm going to go so that you guys can email me with questions if you have any that you did not get answered tonight. Okay. Any other questions? Now's the time to ask. It was fun to hang with you guys tonight. I hope you guys learned something. Did you learn something? Yeah? If you don't mind, please, please, please share this with your friends, or share this with somebody that you know that might be struggling with some symptoms and they're not able to figure out what's going on. Please share this video. Send them my way for a consultation. I'd be more than willing to help. It is, adrenal fatigue really is kind of a bummer, I'm going to say. It's not fun to go through, and it's especially frustrating when you go to, when you're not diagnosed correctly and they don't know how to diagnose it. It's very frustrating because you can go down the wrong path pretty quickly and end up getting worse. So I would just encourage you that if you think you might, go and rewind this video, listen to it again, and just if you think you might have it, then you can either get tested to make sure, or you can start some of these protocols that I talked about. But you might need a coach to help you, especially if you're in stage 3 or going on stage 4. You need some help because it's really hard. It's really hard to do it yourself. So you are welcome, everybody. Thank you. Yes. So what do you guys want me to address next week? Do you have a topic for me? Do you have any ideas? I will give you guys what you want to hear. So I had a lot of you guys that wanted to hear about adrenal fatigue. So is there something else you want me to talk about? You guys let me know. Anything? Thank you, Kristen, for sharing, and I appreciate it, darling. Thank you. Thank you, Rhonda. Thank you. So what would you guys like to hear about next week? You're welcome, Judy. Yes. Anything on your mind that that you can think of that you'd like me to talk about? If not, I would love your ideas though. Otherwise I'll have to come up with something. I will, but I always like to be able to give you guys what you want. Oh, thank you, Mary. You're awesome too. All right, if there's no other questions, are you sure? Your last chance. If there's no other questions, I'm going to go. I would appreciate some feedback on what you guys would like to hear me talk about in the future, as well as please share this with anybody that you know that might need some help. I would love to be able to help them. Let's talk about smoothies. Okay, I can do that. Ideas for switching up training routines. Okay, good and bad. smoothies. I could do a whole smoothie show for you. I could take you in the kitchen and do some smoothie talk. Might be a little technically, we could do that for sure. All right. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Give me some suggestions of what ideas you want me to talk about, and I will for sure do that. Otherwise, I will see you next week. And make sure you share this. Again, my name is Terry Dale, and I thank you so much for joining me. And if you just tuned in, go back and watch this video from the beginning so that you can learn all about this awesome topic we talked about tonight, okay? All right. Bye, you guys. Thanks for watching. See you next week. Give me some ideas, okay?